The first thing the dragon noticed was that the human child did not recoil. That alone set him apart. Pyro's night station cantina was never quiet, alien tongues clashed in overlapping dialects, metal utensils scraped against stone tables, and steam curled upward from molten meats and chemically seasoned stews. Warriors from countless species filled the room, yet all of them avoided a single corner table as if an invisible wall surrounded it. That table belonged to Kazan Flamescale. He was a veteran of 3 interstellar wars. His obsidian-black scales were carved with glowing crimson scars, permanent marks earned in battles no forge could ever erase. His wings remained tightly folded, talons resting on the floor, tail coiled like a restrained weapon. With every breath, thin wisps of smoke escaped his nostrils. No one dared sit near him. No one ever had. Until the human boy arrived. The child moved carefully through the cantina, leaning on a pair of metal crutches polished smooth by years of use. One leg was thin and stiff, supported by a mechanical brace that hummed quietly with each step. His clothing was simple. His meal tray modest, nutrient bread, soup, and recycled water. He stopped in front of Kazan's table, and the noise of the cantina faded into uneasy silence. The boy looked up, meeting the dragon's burning eyes. There was no fear there. Only a gentle, uncertain hope. Sir, the boy said softly. May I sit here? A hush fell like a blade dropped onto stone. This was the table no one approached. Kazan stared at the child, studying him. Humans were strange, fragile creatures who somehow spread across the stars with stubborn persistence. This one was clearly damaged. His scent carried old pain, metal, and healed scars. He was small for his age and moved with the patience of someone who had learned endurance far too young. Kazan bared his teeth slightly, a reflex that caused nearby patrons to stiffen. Do you know who I am, hatchling? He rumbled, his voice vibrating the table. The boy nodded. Yes, sir. And you still ask? The boy tightened his grip on his crutches. Every other table is full, he said honestly. After a pause, he added, and I don't like eating alone. The word struck harder than any plasma blast. Kazan glanced around. The cantina was packed, yet a perfect circle of empty space surrounded him. Slowly, deliberately, the dragon drew his massive tail inward. You may sit, Kazan said. Gasps rippled across the room. The boy smiled as if he'd been offered nothing more than a spare chair. The boy maneuvered carefully, setting his crutches aside before lowering himself into the seat. He bowed his head slightly, a human gesture of respect Kazan recognized from past negotiations. I'm Eli, the boy said. From Earth. Kazan Flamescale, the dragon replied. Ashen Brood. I know, Eli said quietly. You protected the Frostyen refugees during the Third Void conflict. Kazan's eyes narrowed. You study wars? Eli shook his head. My dad did. He was a medic. He told me stories while I was recovering. Kazan's gaze drifted briefly to the metal brace on the boy's leg. Injury. Bombing, Eli answered calmly. Evac shuttle was late. I was 8. Something twisted uncomfortably inside Kazan's chest. 8. Among dragonkind, that was the age of learning flight drills, not surviving war zones. Do you fear me? Kazan asked suddenly. Eli blinked, surprised. No, sir. Why would I? The boy thought for a moment. Because you look lonely, he said, and my dad says the scariest people are usually the ones who had to protect others. Kazan exhaled slowly, smoke curling, not from anger, but from something dangerously close to laughter. That was when the doors slammed open. The temperature dropped instantly as Varesh raiders entered, scaled, muscular, armed, and drunk on conquest. Their eyes locked onto Kazan. Well, I'll be burned, one sneered. The butcher of Purus. The Varesh were ancient enemies. Survivors of a battle where Kazan had annihilated an entire war pack to shield civilian transports. And now you dine with a human child, another raider laughed. How the mighty fall. The cantina patron shrank back. Eli froze. Kazan rose slightly, wings spreading just enough to promise violence. Leave, he warned. The raider leader leaned forward. Or what? You'll burn us in front of the boy. His gaze shifted to Eli. Careful, little whelp. Dragon snap. Before Kazan could move, Eli stood, slowly, painfully, planting his crutches firmly on the ground. Please don't, the boy said. The raiders blinked. I asked him to share the table, Eli continued. So if you're angry, be angry at me. The room went deathly still. Kazan's heart thundered. Sit down, he growled urgently. Eli shook his head. His voice trembled, but he did not retreat. My dad taught me something, he said. Courage isn't standing when you're strong. It's standing when you're scared and someone else needs peace. The raiders burst into laughter, then stopped. Because Kazan moved. The dragon rose with terrifying speed, but he did not attack. Instead, he stepped forward and positioned himself directly in front of Eli. Wings folded. Head lowered. His massive body became a living shield between the boy and the raiders. I will not fight here, Kazan said calmly. This child has claimed my table. To harm him is to declare blood war against the Ashen Brood. Whispers exploded across the cantina. Blood war was sacred, an oath that could not be taken lightly. The Varesh leader swallowed. You would stake your honor, he said slowly, for a crippled human. Kazan's voice did not waver. I would burn galaxies, he said, for a child who showed me kindness when none dared. The raiders backed away. One by one, they retreated without another word. When the tension finally faded, Kazan lowered himself back into his seat, trembling slightly. He turned to Eli. You should not have stood, the dragon said quietly. Eli smiled weakly. You stood for me first. Something ancient and heavy settled into Kazan's soul. When the meal ended, Kazan did something no dragon warrior had ever done. He reached into his satchel and removed a single scale, black and crimson, warm with inner fire. He placed it gently on the table. A protection token, he said. From my brood. Wherever you go, you will never eat alone again. Tears filled Eli's eyes. Thank you, he whispered. As the boy left, the cantina patrons slowly approached Kazan's table, one by one. The most feared warrior on the station had shown them something stronger than fire, compassion. Years later, when the Interstellar Council asked why the Ashen Brood had permanently allied with humanity, Kazan Flamescale gave only one answer. Because a broken child asked to share a table, he said, and reminded us what true strength is.